All right, today I want to walk through the only three focal lengths I've relied on for most of my career as a professional photographer: a 35mm, a 50mm, and an 85mm. But more importantly, I'll explain to you how I use them, why I use them, and just give you some insight into how a professional photographer works, or how this professional photographer works. Because every time I pick a lens, and every time you choose a lens, you should be able to answer one simple question: why am I using this lens for this shot or this scene? If you can't answer that, you're not making a decision, you're just reacting, and you're missing out on how to get deeper in your photography, how to get more creative in your photography, and how to be more intentional with your photography. So this 3 prime lens system has been my core setup for most of my career as a photojournalist, but also I've used this for my documentary and commercial work as well. And this isn't the correct way to do things or the only way to do things, so don't start typing away about this one photographer that shoots all of his street photography with a 200mm and he's awesome, or the guy that does everything with a fisheye lens. Fine, that's what they do, that's what works for them. But this is my channel, this is my career, this is my life here, and I'm going to talk about how I use these lenses, my philosophy behind it, and why I use these lenses. And hopefully you can gain some insight that will help you with your photography. Because at the end of the day, photography isn't about memorizing what focal length is best for a certain genre. It's about understanding how a lens changes your relationship to your subject, to your environment, and ultimately to your story. Also, I don't carry all 3 of these lenses all the time. Some days I'll carry all 3, but more often it's just 1 or 2. And honestly, limiting your options, having less gear with you, can make you a better photographer. It's less thinking about gear that's in your bag, less clutter there, and more attention to what's actually happening in front of you. Before we get started, I just want to thank today's sponsor, which is my online store, askmott.com. I've got a variety of one-on-one online classes, my mentorship program, my portfolio reviews, my private workshop, and also my group workshops. I have a few slots left for my Northern Vietnam photography workshop this December. It's an all-inclusive workshop, not a photo tour, a workshop. It's open to all levels, so don't be intimidated. People interested in all genres. Check all that and more at askmott.com. All right, let's start with the 50mm because for me, it's the least used of all 3, but still incredibly important to me. And I've been using it a lot more recently. But for a lot of photographers out there, especially in street photography, it's usually a choice between one or the other. Often people that like the 50 don't use the 35 much. People like the 35 don't need the 50. So I fall into like the 35 that occasionally needs the 50 camp. For most of my career, I've leaned heavily towards the 35, just works for me. But a couple years ago, I picked up a Leica 50 Sumulux, and it's earned a place pretty quickly and pretty consistently in my kit. What I like about the 50mm is that it gives me a slightly tighter, more controlled perspective without completely disconnecting me from the environment or from my subject. It sits sort of right in that middle ground. I can still tell a story and get close, but I have way more control over what I include and what I leave out. I especially like the 50mm for environmental portraits. I do about 99% of my portraits horizontal, not vertical. That's how I like to shoot my images. I barely shoot vertical. Not an Instagram kid. I like it for those environmental portraits where I want to balance between the person I'm photographing and their surroundings. Not just the face. I like to show who they are, yes, but I like to show something about either where they are or what they do. So I like a little bit of room on the side to play with that. I still do a lot of portraits with a 35mm, but where the 50 really comes into play for me and in my head and my thinking before I go out and shoot is how I want to engage with the world on a given day. If I'm on an assignment, I'm often required to be fully engaged. This means getting close to people, starting conversations, asking permission, earning that space into their lives. But not every day feels like that for me. Some days I'm shooting just for myself and I just don't want to be as assertive. I want to be a little more passive. I don't want to necessarily engage with people. Not all days, but some days. Some extroverts want to be introverts some days. And the 50mm allows me to take a step back, also still maintaining a little bit of intimacy in my frames. And it's not just about how I'm feeling on a particular day. Sometimes no matter how respectful you are, how charming you think you are as a photographer, or even how much time you put into a subject, into a story, some people just don't want you in their personal space. And that's something you have to respect. And for me, the 50mm gives me a way to do that. I can keep a little bit of distance without losing that sense of intimacy. Moving on to the 35mm, my favorite, it's still my foundation lens, still the if I could only have one lens, that would be it. This lens gives me a little more flexibility to shoot environmental portraits, similar to the 50, but maybe a little bit more about who they are or where they are. But I also like it for its flexibility to be able to shoot portraits, to be able to shoot travel work, to be able to shoot establishing shots and general documentary work and reportage work. But more importantly, this lens, when you use it right, it forces you to engage. When I'm working on a long form story and I've built trust with someone, the 35mm allows me to operate inside their space in a very natural way, but it brings my audience, brings the viewer of my images closer to the subject once I've earned that space with the subject. So I'm not observing from a distance, I'm right there in the moment. But here's the problem with the 35mm, it's not for everyone. It's not a forgiving lens. Same with that 28 that a lot of people use. I think a lot of photographers misuse this lens. I see people in my workshops and in my online classes come back and show me images with their 28 or with their 35 or even with a 24. They're not getting close. They're using that wide field of view as a safety net. And really, when you shoot wider, there's more things to fill the frame with. So you have to be more creative. You often have to move with your feet and earn that space with people. So their images end up being quite distant, quite uninvolved. They lack intimacy. And then you end up seeing the same image over and over again. A subject about like 20 meters away, surrounded by clutter, so much extra things in the shot that don't need to be there, distractions, no clear point of focus. It's like that wide shot of a scene that doesn't actually work as a wide, but that's what they do because they're on that lens. And that's a result of the photographer not answering the question, why am I using this lens in this situation? It's because someone else uses it, or because it's on your camera, or is it because you don't want to get close? So when you can answer these questions, you'll come up with solutions and be able to pick the right lens. So often amateurs really misuse this lens. I think it's a great lens, but it requires, in my opinion, a lot more discipline. Moving on to the 85mm, for me, this is for the most part, it's a problem-solving lens. This is the lens I reach for when the environment just isn't working, but I still need to deliver publishable pictures for my client. And this happens all the time, more than we like to admit, especially in commercial work as well. You don't always get to choose your location. In commercial photography, you rarely do. Often you're stuck shooting somewhere that honestly just doesn't look good. And the 85mm lets me compress the scene, simplify the background, isolate my subject, and build something clean out of something messy. I can use foreground elements, a dirty foreground if you will, to frame through something and isolate my subject and be more selective. I do sometimes use it for portraits, but not that often. It can feel too polished, a bit too corporate for me. Even in my commercial work, I don't want it to come off corporate. I lean towards more editorial style, and really those like tight lens shots of people's faces, I just don't love them. It doesn't often tell you anything about who the person is or where they are or what they do. But really that 85, when you need it, when you really need it, and there are plenty of times where a client says like, we need a portrait of this person right here, and you're thinking like, this is not where I want to shoot, this is not the background I want, and you push for something better and you fight. We all fight the good fight, but sometimes you lose, sometimes you don't have that option. That's when the 85 saves you. That's when the 85 has bailed me out countless times. And now I'm not someone who likes to rely on gear to do the work for me creatively, but I'm also realistic. An 85 at a wide aperture, an 85 1.4 with that compression, it can get you out of and has gotten me out of a lot of tough situations. So that's how I use those three lenses. That's my philosophy. There's more to it there. That's sort of the simplified version of it. At the end of the day, I like prime lenses because they force me to be intentional. They force me to move, to engage, to commit. I'm not against zooms. There are times, especially on commercial shoots, where speed matters, or I need a lot of variety and I need it fast. Like recently I've been doing a lot of ghosting shoots where I'm not the priority. Video is. Even on my own shoots for my own business sometimes, I'll double up directing a video scene, then also taking stills. And I've got to work fast. And in those situations, I absolutely love that 28-70 f2 by Sony. It's incredibly useful, it's incredibly sharp, and it's really versatile. But regardless of what you're using for what situations or what works for you, you should always be asking yourself, why this lens for this shot? Answer the why and you'll become a more intentional and better photographer. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to check out my online store again, my Northern Vietnam Photography Workshop. This December, a few slots left, 5 students only. 7 days, all inclusive once you get here. I also have private workshops here in Vietnam and beyond. We can do custom workshops for people anywhere in the world. I also do online classes for people that can't commit to coming to Vietnam. So I have one-on-one classes. I have a mentorship program, all that and more at askmott.com. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to have a wonderful day.